Poilievre hits back at Carney in new video as Liberal reacts to unexpected street challenge. The Canadian political landscape has been electrified by a new wave of confrontation between Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and Prime Minister Mark Carney. Despite losing his parliamentary seat in the recent election, Poilievre has not retreated from the spotlight. Instead, he has launched a sharp and focused video response targeting Carney's recent policy announcements and cabinet appointments. This video is a clear signal that Poilievre intends to remain a dominant voice in Canadian politics, challenging the Liberal government's direction under Carney's leadership. His remarks have stirred debate and position the Conservatives as vigilant critics of what they describe as economic mismanagement. In his video, Poilievre wasted no time in addressing what he perceives as excessive government spending. He criticized Carney's newly appointed cabinet, accusing the Prime Minister of assembling a team that will deepen Canada's fiscal troubles. Using the phrase morbidly obese, Poilievre highlighted what he calls the bloated nature of the Liberal cabinet's spending agenda. His fiery rhetoric echoed his ongoing message about the dangers of unchecked government expenditure and the importance of economic prudence. Poilievre's direct challenge aimed to rally Conservative voters who are wary of the Liberal Party's approach to economic management. Mark Carney, who took office as Prime Minister in March 2025, quickly set a tone of change, especially regarding climate policy and economic strategy. One of his first major moves was to end the consumer carbon tax, a controversial policy that had divided public opinion in Canada. While the consumer carbon tax was eliminated on April 1, 2025, the government maintained the industrial carbon levy, which applies to larger polluters. Carney justified this move by acknowledging the tax's divisive nature and promising that the carbon rebate program would continue, ensuring some compensation to Canadians affected by carbon pricing. This balancing act was seen as an attempt to unify a polarized electorate while maintaining environmental commitments. Carney's cabinet appointments have been another focal point of political contention. The Prime Minister sought to present a team capable of driving economic growth, cutting taxes for the middle class, and creating new jobs. His government's ambition to position Canada as the fastest-growing economy in the G7 reflects a desire to rebuild confidence amid global uncertainty. However, critics like Poilievre argue that the cabinet's priorities do not align with fiscal responsibility and that the government risks increasing debt and inflation through its spending plans. This clash of visions underscores the deep ideological divide between the two leaders and their parties. The tension between Poilievre and Carney recently spilled into the public arena in an unexpected way. During a public event, Carney was confronted by a member of the public who challenged him on his policies and leadership. This street challenge was widely shared on social media, amplifying its impact. The incident highlighted the challenges Carney faces in connecting with everyday Canadians who feel uncertain or dissatisfied with the government's direction. While some viewed the confrontation as a sign of healthy democratic engagement, others interpreted it as a sign of growing frustration among the electorate. Poilievre seized upon this moment to reinforce his critique of Carney's leadership. In his video, he suggested that the street challenge was emblematic of a wider disconnect between the Liberal government and the public. He argued that Canadians are increasingly skeptical of promises that do not translate into tangible improvements in their lives. Poilievre's narrative taps into a broader sentiment of disillusionment, positioning himself as a champion of accountability and transparency. His ability to leverage such moments keeps him relevant and ensures that his voice resonates beyond parliamentary walls. The unexpected street challenge also exposed questions about Carney's communication style and public relations approach. As a former governor of the Bank of Canada and a seasoned economist, Carney is often seen as a technocrat rather than a populist. His measured and policy-driven style sometimes contrasts sharply with the more direct and fiery approach of political opponents like Poilievre. Observers have noted that Carney's success as Prime Minister may hinge on his ability to engage more effectively with grassroots Canadians and respond to their concerns in a relatable way. Despite these tensions, both leaders share a commitment to addressing Canada's economic challenges, albeit through very different approaches. Carney's emphasis on innovation, green energy policies, and infrastructure investment contrasts with Poilievre's focus on spending restraint, tax cuts, and deregulation. This ideological clash frames much of the current political debate in Canada, with each side presenting a distinct vision for the country's future. The public is watching closely as both leaders navigate this high-stakes competition for influence and public support. Carney's promise to cut taxes for the middle class and create jobs is part of a broader strategy to stimulate economic growth and boost confidence in Canada's post-pandemic recovery. However, the success of these initiatives depends on various external factors, including global economic conditions and commodity prices. Critics argue that without fiscal discipline, these measures could exacerbate inflationary pressures and lead to higher deficits. Poilievre's warnings about government overspending resonate with voters concerned about the long-term sustainability of public finances. Meanwhile, the Liberal government under Carney has sought to distance itself from policies that were perceived as divisive or unpopular, such as the consumer carbon tax. By eliminating this tax, but keeping the industrial levy, Carney appears to be seeking a middle path that balances environmental goals with political pragmatism. This policy shift aims to appease a broader spectrum of Canadians, including those in resource-dependent regions who have been vocal opponents of carbon pricing. The success of this balancing act remains uncertain as environmental and economic priorities often clash. The political rivalry between Poilievre and Carney is also shaping the broader conversation about leadership style and political identity in Canada. Poilievre's aggressive and populist approach appeals to a base that values directness and confrontation, while Carney's technocratic and consensus-driven style aims to project stability and expertise. Both approaches have their strengths and weaknesses, and their effectiveness will be tested as the new government attempts to implement its agenda amid complex economic realities. Carney's response to the unexpected street challenge, and to criticism more generally, will likely play a key role in defining his premiership. Demonstrating empathy, openness, and responsiveness could help bridge gaps between the government and citizens. Conversely, perceived aloofness or detachment could deepen divisions. How Carney navigates these challenges will influence not only his political fortunes, but also Canada's ability to maintain social cohesion during uncertain times. Poilievre, despite being out of Parliament, has shown remarkable resilience and determination to shape public debate. His ability to frame Carney's policies as out of touch or fiscally reckless keeps Conservative supporters energized. This dynamic rivalry ensures that Canadian politics remains vibrant and competitive, with significant implications for policy direction and electoral outcomes. Ultimately, the contest between Poilievre and Carney encapsulates the broader struggle within Canadian society over economic priorities, governance style, and national identity. As both leaders continue to engage with Canadians through media and public events, the country watches closely to see which vision will prevail in shaping Canada's future in an increasingly complex world.